Ooh.
And now we can see ourselves.
Yeah, we can.
Or something like that.
Well, we're live on YouTube, but we're not live anywhere else yet. Hello, YouTube. We are WFSO. Oh, I'll count down now. We're at 3.
3.
Do, 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 do.
Why? Oh yeah, there was no one in there.
Okay. Hey everyone, we are WFSO. We are the owners, the operators.
Not exactly.
This is the encyclopedia.
The other owner is making a sandwich.
Sandwich.
You over there.
But we are coming up for Royal Rumble. And we've been watching the Royal Rumble. Oh no, WrestleMania, yes. Sorry. And we've been watching. It's actually been pretty interesting watching the progression of how WrestleMania started out with looking like a house show to the extravaganza we're at with like WrestleMania 13. It's funny because I personally think that they need to have Vince McMahon back doing commentary. Whoop! I'll just throw the microphone. I think they should have. Why have you got pointing at the screen? You need to have it pointing towards us for voices. I think that they need to have Vince McMahon back doing the announcing.
It wouldn't work because he's so involved in the storyline that being on commentary wouldn't work because he had to be biased. But since he's so into the storyline now, since it's like the whole family is pretty much in the storyline now, if he was back on commentary, it would throw off the character of Mr. McMahon because he'd have to be biased towards whoever he's leaning towards. You know, he's usually heel and baby.
Hey, you're gonna have to twist around, bro.
Well, he's usually heel.
You come to me. AJ's got to twist around. Okay.
Well, he's usually heel, but then sometimes he's babyface. So,
but no, I'm saying of how he got into the commentary, how he was really like into it and just seemed to really enjoy what he was doing.
But as I said, it wouldn't work because he's too involved in the storyline. So it wouldn't work. He'd have to be because like when he was on commentary, he was always like biased and pulling for the baby face. But as we all know, the Mr. McMahon character is pretty much an asshole, so it wouldn't work.
That is true. Right, we're just trying to adjust this so we can fit all of us in without all three of us having to sit on someone's lap. There we go. That's a bit better.
Sit on someone's lap.
But it was, to me, it was interesting seeing how everybody has evolved and seeing people like Shawn Michaels come out, who looks like he's 5 years old wearing his dad's wrestling gear, to now he's bald-headed, gray, and should be someone's grandpa.
Yeah, rockers.
Yeah, but it's interesting watching the characters evolve and change and everything.
Yeah, his first appearance was WrestleMania 5, I believe, or 4. It was one of the two. I know him and Marjane were still together. By WrestleMania 8 is when he finally went solo.
And then you're watching classic ones with like Macho Man and The Ultimate Warrior.
WrestleMania 5 on down.
And it still makes me laugh what you said about the little carts.
Oh, yeah. For those of you who have probably seen the Warrior I Still Believe DVD, if you haven't, there's a funny story with Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6. For those of you that know classic wrestling, back in WrestleMania times, they used to have like little
miniature rings.
Like makeshift rings that got pushed to the ring with the competitors in it. WrestleMania 6 comes around and Warrior is in the back. It's a funny story. He's in the back putting his makeup on, and the crew comes to his door and they knock on the door. It's like, Warrior, we got a cart to bring you out to the ring. He is like, I'm running to the ring, because that was his stick. Of course, run to the ring full blast. So then the crew leaves and they find Vince McMahon in the hallway. You can hear Vince's voice in the background, Warrior! Then Warrior's like, Vince, I'm running to the ring. And then Vince is like, well, you heard him, guys. He's running to the ring.
I don't think it would have worked him any other way coming to the ring. Do you know what I mean?
WrestleMania 7 is the only one he ever walked, as you saw.
Right, but even still, I don't think it would have worked for him coming to the ring any other way other than walking or running.
7 was the only one he ever walked in. That was it didn't dawn on me until I actually watched it again. I was like, wait a minute, this is the one he actually walks to the ring. He doesn't run in this one.
But the other person who we saw a lot of, obviously, in the early days was Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched that Hogan and Linda story thing today. Do you, after seeing that, do you see him in a different light from how he was? Or does it just explain a lot of things that you saw with him during the wrestling, knowing that he was, and it was on there that he was sleeping around with a lot of people. Linda was... Which is not uncommon in the wrestling world. Right. Hence the term wrestling rats for the women who show up there to sleep with the wrestlers. We know plenty. Moving on. But do you think that his behavior in wrestling explains why Linda why she started drinking and popping pills? Do you think that was a... It might have been, but at the same token, she already knew that Hogan was a wrestler. He was wrestling before they even got together. Right. So she should have known that the lifestyle that he was going to be in was going to be involved around that. Never being always out with the boys, having legions of fans, and mostly women because he was a guy. So that was to be expected. I'm not condoning what he did, but she should have seen that, being that he was already a wrestler before they even got married. What are your thoughts?
Well, I guess people already knew through the reality show, and how he acted.
And and this is the thing, the reality show actually said that a lot of it was them putting on an act, because he had, didn't they say that he had a coach to help him calm down and for anxiety and stuff? And they were trying to do these certain breathing exercises with him, and he flipped out and had issues. But you could see that, to me, this is my thought. You saw how he was with Brooke, how he controlled everything that she was doing, everything. Mm-hmm. And if you remember, there was that one episode where I think she was 9, and they got on vacation, and she wanted to go off and do her own thing. And he freaked out over it and sent the police looking for her and everything, because he thought she'd been kidnapped and all this law. And certain protection, that little girl. Right, but it's the way that he did appear to control every aspect of it. But there's a part of me that thinks that maybe part of that was to do with when you hear that Linda was drinking and popping pills. Maybe part of it was because he had to be both parents. Do you know what I mean?
You know what? I'm surprised they did not discuss on there. They talked about Brooke. They didn't mention nothing about Nick whatsoever. Remember that car crash he was in?
Yeah. What was ever the outcome of that? I know that they would go to... He went to jail. I didn't know he went to jail. Yeah, but I know the Hogan spent a lot of time blaming that other driver. Yeah, and that other driver was seriously injured, if I remember rightly. And didn't he have some mental issues afterwards because of the head injury or something?
That part I don't know about.
Do me a favor, as you're on the end, go grab my phone. It's right by my chair.
But you know what's really funny about that is that Linda was there the entire time that happened. Right. And yet she said nothing. She let the whole thing go down like it was cool that they were drag racing.
Wrong phone.
The other one, the unicorn one. Linda was there. They got video footage of her being there on the scene with the whole race going down, and yet you're supposed to be his mom, and you didn't say a word. Hogan found out via phone call because he was on the road. That's when he was still working with WWE at the time.
Well, and the thing that gets me in regards to all of that is that, let's see, is that it seemed to me when it came to Brooke and Nick, whenever there was a problem with them two, it was everybody else's fault. Like the Hogan kids could do no wrong because they were raised right. That's just my opinion on things. Okay, let's see. He spent May 9th, 2008 to October 21st in jail as a result. The passenger in the car was seriously injured and suffered massive brain damage.
Well, there you go.
But then they had a settlement too.
That's what I thought. Let me have a. Okay.
Motorsport accident.
It was in one where the car he was in caught fire. He was stopped twice for driving and ticketed for going 115 miles per hour in a 70 mile an hour zone. And he said in an interview that he was doing 123. His mother said the interview was exaggerated. He was ticketed for driving 57 in a 30, 106 in a 70, and doing 82 in a 45. Okay, this is about the accident. On the evening of August 26, 2007, at the time was involved in a serious accident of cars, a yellow Toyota and a silver Dodge Viper. They were traveling to a steakhouse where a single vehicle crash occurred, which Boella was driving on the outside lane. Fishtail spun across the road and crashed into the median into a palm tree. The impact destroyed the car. Nick and his fellow passenger, 22-year-old John Graziano, were flown to medical center in Florida. He was released on August 27 and said to be okay. However, the other guy, who was a Marine and a member of the pit crew, was not wearing a seatbelt. The eye and brain injuries he sustained are expected to leave him in a nursing home for the rest of his life. In September 2009, the guy in question returned to his home where he continued to receive full-time care. Nick was charged with several violations for the crash, including a felony. He turned himself into authorities in November of 2007, where he was released on a $10,000 bail. He was charged with reckless driving involving serious bodily injury, a third-degree felony, use of a motor vehicle in commission of a felony, and a person under the age of 21 operating in a vehicle with a blood alcohol level of 0.02 or higher, and illegal window tint. 2 hours after the wreck, his blood content was 0.05. Police believe that he and Danny Jacobs were speeding in excess of 60 miles per hour and they posted 40 miles an hour on a wet road prior to the crash. Both were charged with reckless driving. Eyewitnesses claimed the cars were racing. The official police report said the two cars were racing, but that Jacobs' actions were not a direct cause of the accident. Prior to the trial, his lawyer said that the accident was not a result of speeding, emphasizing that Nick was wearing his seatbelt and the passenger was not. Nick's lawyer released surveillance from earlier in the day where he claimed that he could disprove a report that Nick was driving at least 50% faster than the posted limit. The other guy's family denied rumors of a civil suit, but later the lawyer suggested a civil suit against them were to pay for the John's lifetime medical care. On May 9th, 2008, Nick entered a no contest plea and was sentenced to 8 months in jail. The sentence was also called for him to serve 5 years of probation, 500 hours of community service, and his license suspended for 3 years. After public records request, the sheriff's office released audio tapes of Nick's jail phone conversations from overnight. The conversation included Nick saying that the crash was that crash victim John was a negative person. The press was critical of the excerpts, blaming the crash victim, said that the phone calls could mark the end of Hulkamania. Nick later sued the sheriff's office for releasing the tapes. Nick was separated from the general jailhouse population because he was a minor. His attorneys asked for a reconsideration of his sentence, seeking contemporary house arrest until he was 18. On June 3rd, the motion was denied. He was moved to join 3 other juvenile inmates. On July 27th, when he turned 18, he was moved from the county jails, like segregated bit, to general population.
Mm-hmm.
On October 21st, he was released from county jail due to good behavior, time credited, and moved to his mother's water. On May 4th, 2012, he was granted early release from felony probation. So,
Pray from good behavior,
yeah.
probably.
But I don't know, it's one of those things where I think who played a part in why he didn't get as high a sentence. And I wanted to have a look and see if because they never mentioned the civil suit that the passengers. Okay, you guys talk about something.
Well, just to see how much they won. But
you brought up the whole WrestleMania topic.
We can still talk about WrestleMania, but you can carry on talking about. We were saying about how Hogan was one of the main.
Hey, he's the Michael Jordan of wrestling.
But I guess the issue was just like his behavior on the show. But it seemed like he was like controlling everything. It's like she couldn't do this or she couldn't do that. And it's like it was like more hard on her than he was on Nick.
Right.
So it was like,
heck, Nick was hardly ever there. So.
yeah, that's
even
true.
on the show.
But he was on the show for a lot of the things.
He was on there, but some of the time, but most of the time when the show was aired, it was usually always Hogan, Brooke, Linda. Hogan, Brooke, Linda. You barely ever saw Nick ever on the show. The only 3 times I can remember him be on the show was actually kind of relevant, or the 3 times that he was on there was one when he wanted to become a wrestler, and Hogan volunteered to train him, but he wasn't sure if Nick would have been up to it. And after just one day, he stopped.
Okay, before you carry on, this is the car, how it looked. I don't know if anyone can see that from the crash. That's how it looked. Yeah.
And then, let's see, when they went to the amusement park, and what was the last time I saw them? When they were all out shopping one time. That was it. I don't remember Nick really being on there all that often.
Which is just says that he probably just let him do his own thing.
But back to the topic at hand that we were talking about was WrestleMania. A lot of historic things happened in there, which one would obviously be the legendary streak of The Undertaker, which started at WrestleMania 7. The Eagle Wing title, for those of you that grew up in that era, the Eagle Wing title was first introduced. Well, it was the first introduced, but the first WrestleMania it was ever introduced into was WrestleMania 4. Following controversy of how the world title came being at WrestleMania 4. To my knowledge, that is the WrestleMania 4 is the only one I can remember them actually having a tournament for a title, for the world title in. I don't know if they ever did that at any other WrestleMania, but that's the only one I can remember.
No, that's the only one they did in WrestleMania.
Of course, the legendary passing of the torch from Andre to Hogan, WrestleMania 3. Another big thing, which they still carry on to do, the tradition today is when they have like a celebrity sing America the Beautiful at every WrestleMania. Let's see, what was another one? I had one in my head, but I forgot what it was. WrestleMania being filmed or simulcast from 3 different arenas at the same time, which was WrestleMania 2. It was being simulcast from Madison Square Garden, Chicago, and LA all at the same time. I believe 4 and 5
Excuse me.
are the only
Excuse me.
4 and 5 are the 2 WrestleManias that were filmed, that were not filmed, but that were both presented from Trump Tower, back-to-back years at the same place. Let's see, anything else? You mentioned one that we were watching, 7. How you like how they integrated real life into the script. For those of you who remember WrestleMania 7, the main event of that night was Sergeant Slaughter versus Hulk Hogan. At that time, we were in the First World War in Iraq, and that was when Slaughter pledged his allegiance to Iraq, and Hogan, of course, was the great American hero, bringing back to the United States. Quick true but straight but true fact about that one. When Slaughter pledged his allegiance to Iraq, they wanted him in a segment to burn the American flag. Even though he was a heel, he told them point blank he would never disgrace the American flag like that. So he was like, I'll just burn the next best thing. Next best thing was Hogan's shirt.
That went up like no one's business.
And he didn't even know himself. He was like, I did not know it was going to burn that fast. Yeah, because at that point in time, Slaughter probably had the hardest. He was probably the most hated person in not only in wrestling, but probably the world at that point in time, except for Saddam Hussein.
Okay, I looked up, sorry, and that lawsuit, Hulk Hogan settled for an undisclosed lifetime care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the play stories of Slaughter having to come to the arena with bulletproof vests and extra police security.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that does sound crazy.
That's probably he was probably at that time in the early 90s, the most hated heel in wrestling and probably around the world.
Just like Muhammad Hassan was. I liked that character, but
yeah, I remember why they let him go. I remember that. I was watching SmackDown the night that it happened.
Don't you also find the other thing that it kind of gets you really nostalgic when you watch, like, how we have when we've been watching the old WrestleManias, when you see wrestlers who are gone?
yeah,
What match was that we were watching? It was like everybody in the ring is dead now. Like,
Was it a tag team one?
I can't remember exactly.
But I know which one. We were watching one of the matches and we're like, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead, and
Heck, there was one where it was Mr. Perfect versus the Blue Blazer. Both of them going. Owen and Kurt Hennig. Both of them.
right. And speaking of that, I don't know if anybody heard, but today was the passing of the first ever Triple Crown, I should say, champion, Pedro Morales.
really?
Yeah, he passed away today.
His name sounds so familiar.
Let me bring it up.
Like I think he wrestled around the time that Bruno Sammartino had.
Oh, and that dude. I knew that name sounded familiar.
So, yep,
How do you spell his last name?
Morales.
I think it's Mor.
Found it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's go to images.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I recognize him now. Sometimes for me, it's like I don't remember names, but as soon as I remember faces and everything.
For those of you that also are now aware of Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich, part of the legendary Von Erich family, he wrestled actually with fake foot.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
With what?
A fake foot, prosthetic foot.
Yeah.
Oh,
Texas Kerry Von Erich.
The one thing I will want to say is the locally, we actually lost one of the wrestling family members. His name was Will.
Yeah, they had a tribute for him at the last show. I was up with my little brother.
And Will, I actually refer to as Chocolate Frosty, and I will tell you why. We used to hang out with a bunch of the Powerhouse lot until everybody kind of separated and moved away and did their own thing. And the Powerhouse trio was basically Mike Thompson, Chris Hansen, and Will Powell. And the three of them together were just like crazy. We had some really good times with them and everything. And one day, after a lot of drinking with them, I don't know who was drinking, because not me, because I'm a perfect angel. What was that? What?
Don't let her fool you.
Anywho, I nicknamed Mike.
Do I have to bring up the flagpole story or the lamppost story?
Shut up. You weren't there to see it.
You told me more than once.
I called Mike Vanilla Pudding, Chris was Vanilla Snack Pack, and Will was Chocolate Frosty. And I made t-shirts for all of them with that written on. And, you know, he was Chocolate Frosty from then onwards. As time went on, sadly, there was falling outs and separations, but we still stay kind of in contact with Will, and he was always a big supporter of what we were trying to do. And one of my favorite stories with Will was that he was taking me and Robert to one of Powerhouse's, one of their last wrestling shows, and we were driving along the freeway, and over the radio there was a tornado warning. Somehow I'm always in cars, but there's freaking tornado warnings here. And it was for the area we were in, but the tornado hadn't touched the ground near where we were, but you could see the sky was just those colors and everything. And I remember saying to Will, I looked at him, I went, if tornado pops out of the sky right now, what are we doing? And over to the right of us, they were building a Myers where we were going. We were heading north. And he said, I'm putting this bitch in reverse. We are reversing up the freeway to the nearest exit, and we are hiding in Myers. And I said, why would we hide in Myers? What if it touched down nearby? He's like, food, woman, food. We'll be safe in there. There's towels. That's like a Walmart. We can barricade ourselves. We will be fine. And Robert was in the back seat, absolutely laughing himself silly over it. But it was a good time, but over the past years, he's had some health issues because he was diabetic, and it affected his legs and his feet a lot, and his kidneys. And I know he was on dialysis for a while, and I'm wondering if all of that kind of caught up with it. That's the raccoons trying to get out. They're at the door. If you can hear that, basically where we are in our apartment, we're in the kitchen. If you go out of here, there's another door that leads to the attic. And raccoons have got in the attic, and they are trying to get out of the door. And this noise is what you can hear. Is them right by the door trying to get out. And it says, our dog's crazy. So now we're going to have to put up with this. Yeah, so I don't even care.
That's me listening. You don't care.
Maybe it's all right. It's fine. You're okay.
But yeah, I don't know if they're gonna be still doing main event pro wrestling show. They still got one lined up for March. But
I think from what I can make out from Mike, that is going to be a memorial show and a fundraiser. It's either that or April.
They didn't mention that at the event.
No, this was Will's own Fed.
Yeah, his own Fed. Yeah, which believes that they will have a show, or they're going to have a show in March. Because I know, like at the time, him and his wife was like running it.
Right.
Oh yeah, his wife was there, by the way, at the last show.
Yeah, she probably would be. But it was sad that he's gone. But he was such a fun character. Doing interviews with him, I did interviews with him as himself and also as his wrestling persona. And his wrestling persona, when he would get going, oh my God, it was great fun. Absolutely great fun. But he will be missed. He will be missed. But my way of looking at it is that at least he's now not fighting that battle with diabetes and everything. And last I saw him was when we went to one of TC's shows and he was there. And he didn't look good. He was in a wheelchair. He told me he was waiting for a kidney transplant. He was having problems with his legs and everything. So, you know, the blessing is he's not in pain and everything anymore.
Right. Which you don't wish that on everyone, but
Right.
we just hope that he'll be better sooner or later, but just it's too late. And I know Chris is like somewhere, like I think he's in Illinois.
I
isn't
think
he?
he's in Illinois, yeah. And I spoke with Mike the night it happened, and Mike was absolutely devastated. Absolutely devastated. Because they'd known each other and been a part of each other's lives for so many years. Like, since Mike started, gone back as far as when they worked with Frankie DeFalco and everything, way back. You know, so he's been a part of his 20 odd years and then some. So he's, you know, hurting right now, which you would do.
Exactly.
So we're actually, one of our awards that we normally give out, which is for Fed Owner of the Year, is automatically going to Will. It really is, because he would have been in the running for it anyway.
Right.
But I think in honor of him, you know, he deserves that. And, you know, yeah.
Yeah, so we're hoping at the award show, which is going to be Saturday, May 11th, we hopefully someone, or either his wife or
someone who can represent them, even if we can get Mike in town, you know.
Right, just have him like accept the award.
Right. So we're gonna move on now to something else.
I'm trying to think. I know Elimination Chamber is this Sunday.
Is it really this Sunday?
Yep.
Good God. I haven't even been paying any attention. All I know is the new women's tag team is supposed to be belted up.
All I know is that the guys are having a chamber match, the girls are having one, and then the women's tag team titles. And then I don't know nothing else.
I know they said the main event for the women with Ronda Rousey is not going to be in the chamber at all.
No, it's supposed to be her and Ruby Riott.
Yeah.
I think for the title.
Yeah, but the woman that wins the chamber gets the title shot, or whoever's the champion at the time.
The chamber for the women is for the tag titles.
Oh, okay, they switched it up then. That's gonna be an interesting concept, though.
Right, and I know people was questioning is like why they ain't had two, which I do agree. Why they ain't had like two of them, like one for Raw and one for SmackDown. So I don't think we all gonna understand what the concept is gonna be after whoever wins it. Is like, are they gonna be going on both shows and defending it, or
Right.
And have no choice if they only got one set. That's how they used to do it. When they only had one set of titles, yeah, both the champions would defend the titles on both shows.
Right, exactly. So I guess they just gonna they might stick with that, or they might just have a second set and just I don't know. We'll see. It is this Sunday. The only little bit that I know about what happened this past Monday on Raw was I think they suspended Becky Lynch for 60 days, which is not enough time for her to have a match at WrestleMania. So
Right.
they kind of switched it and gave it to Charlotte.
My God.
Again.
So it's gonna be Charlotte and Becky Lynch. Not Becky Lynch, but Charlotte and Ronda Rousey for the title at WrestleMania.
Again. For the
Which then tells you that what was the point of having the match this Sunday when they've already got it scheduled for Becky Lynch to go, not Becky Lynch, for Ronda Rousey to go for a title match against Charlotte at WrestleMania.
Again, for the third time or more. I understand that Charlotte is the daughter of Nature Boy Ric Flair, but my God, Flair didn't even have that many title matches when he was wrestling.
He was 16 times, so who knows?
But then he didn't have that many. But think about it.
We've been watching WrestleMania. Okay, so I can back this up. We're up to 13 right now.
Ric Flair
and he has
of them.
He has not had back-to-back championships.
One
WrestleManias, yeah.
So far, thus far, we've been up to the only WrestleMania you saw Flair in was 8. And that's when he was champion. He lost the title to Randy Savage, got it back, lost it to Bret Hart, and disappeared back to WCW. And then in WCW, it was always usually him and Hogan. And then he lost that one retired match to Hogan, and you didn't see him for a long period of time. But even then, he was usually always involved, like it's 4 Horsemen storyline. But good Lord, to have Charlotte Flair in every single back-to-back pay-per-view for the title, good Lord.
It would be nice to have somebody else. Because
bring Ember Moon in. She's been doing a good job. Give her a title shot.
I think she's injured, though. I'm not sure, though.
Okay, let me bring up what matches are coming up for the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, so hopefully sometime tomorrow get to catch up on Raw and SmackDown. So,
hey, give Alexa Bliss a title shot.
No,
I know she can't wrestle worth a damn, but still, it's somebody different.
Oh no, it's not that she can't wrestle. She can, but
no,
she was there too much as well.
Oh, Kofi Kingston's to replace Mustafa Ali in the Elimination Chamber.
Okay, so that rumor was right.
Okay, let's see. Matches. We have the Tag Team Elimination Chamber match for the Women's Tag Team Championship.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Nia Jax and Tamina versus the Riot Squad versus Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville versus the Iconics versus Bayley and Sasha Banks versus Naomi and Carmella. Then you have the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championship, which is The Miz and Shane McMahon versus the Usos.
Okay.
Then you got the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship. Oh, hold on, because that just...
We're still waiting for their mixtape to drop.
That's Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles versus Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton versus Samoa Joe versus Kofi. We've got the WWE Cruiserweight Championship, which is Buddy Murphy versus Akira
Tozawa.
Thank you very much. Mm-hmm. The singles match for the women's, Ronda Rousey versus Ruby Riott. Mm-hmm. Handicap match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship, which is Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush versus Finn Balor. And then you've just got a singles match, which is Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin. That's the 7 matches so far.
So, once again, Brock Lesnar, being the champion, ain't defending the title worth a damn.
And it's getting sickening, because let's be honest, we have to say this. Ronda Rousey came from MMA fighting, has obviously held the championship, but every week, pretty much, she has shown up. Mm-hmm. Every pay-per-view, even if she wins, which gets annoying at times, let's be perfectly honest. But at least she is there. Now, wasn't there a stipulation that once said that if you held the title, you had to defend it at least every 30 days?
I guess that doesn't apply to Brock Lesnar, because we were saying that too.
Brock Lesnar can suck a dick, because he's just annoying. He really is. At this rate, what you could actually do is give the championship to one of the legends. Give it to fucking Ric Flair. Have him show up once a year to defend it. Am I not right, though, that you could basically do that based on this? Shit, have Hogan come in and do a pinky wrestle match. You know, hold up, WWE Championship belt. It's going to be Hulk Hogan, the defending champion, against Ric Flair in a thumb wrestling match.
People were lying up to see that too.
Well, that is quite true, yeah. But even still, I mean, that's how ridiculous it is right now.
Yeah, you ain't lying.
I mean, seriously, I want him to get injured just so that the belt can drop and he can fuck
How
off.
is he going to be injured if he's never there?
Perhaps he'll trip over his own damn ego or something.
Or he'll do like a China, like to show off, like, my back.
Right.
Like, not get injured when you ain't never there.
But
If
yeah,
they that desperate to keep the belt on Brock Lesnar for WrestleMania, for him, so he won't have to get injured or don't have to do any matches, yeah, it's pretty sad. That belt should have rotated, I don't know how many times. If you really want Brock Lesnar to have the title that damn bad, let it rotate around until it get back to WrestleMania and get back to.
Right.
But damn, they have the world champion, the person that's supposedly supposed to be representing the company, never being there, never on TV. Paul Heyman is on TV more than his ass is.
You know?
yeah, I just don't get like Vince's mindset and why he's still keeping the title on Brock.
They could
It's
have
like-
rotated the belt, I don't know how many times.
It's like he ain't gonna have a UFC title match anytime soon, from what it seems like.
No, and that was the other thing. The reason that he hasn't got a UFC title match or a match, to be honest, within UFC, is that the powers that be are sick and tired of him and no one wants to go against him. You know, normally with UFC fighters, you've got that one fighter who's like, I'm going to get his ass.
Mhm.
No one's interested. No one is interested in Brock Lesnar in the UFC world.
Oh wow.
What does that tell you? If no one's interested in you as a fighter in UFC, get your ass more frequently back in the ring in WWE. No one's really interested in you there either. But you know what? Vince obviously is, and you're obviously sucking his dick and fondling the old ballsack while you're down there. Because something's going on. You know what it is? He's putting a finger up the butthole at the same time. He's doing the whole 9 yards.
Because I've never known for a champion to never be, or to, okay, let's just use Hogan for example, because he was the champion in the 80s. Hogan was at every house show, was at every pay-per-view, and even when he wasn't wrestling, at least he cut a promo or two. Brock Lesnar ain't did a damn thing. Paul Heyman has been doing all this talking.
Right. No, we're still on YouTube, so we can keep
Okay.
going.
But the whole thing is that, you know, let's be honest, we're going to go do the whole back in the day thing. You did have wrestlers who, when they held the title, they were proud to hold that title. They came out and flaunted that title. And as much as I'm not a big fan of John Cena, at least when he held a title, he would be in that ring challenging everybody every week to take him on.
Mm-hmm.
You may have hated, what's his name? Roman Reigns. But at least when he had the title, he showed up every week.
Yeah, when he can. And I think that's just interesting, like talking about him now. I just wondering how he's doing right now with his
I'll have a look while you
He's
do that.
recovering. He's recovering nicely from the last time I've seen any video on it.
because I'm wondering if he have his like chemotherapy and all that stuff. So
Yeah, he's in the middle of that. That I do.
I would say he should be bald by now or shave his head.
Charlotte Flair tops Roman Reigns for WWE video with the most dislikes.
Oh yeah.
Well, he's cut his hair down really short, so
Yeah.
let's see. Do-do-do, do-do-do. Do-do-do, do-do-do. Oh, wow.
Hmm?
Roman Reigns, his brother and his father both.
I think Rosie was one of them.
Yeah.
Yep. Man. I've never.
Rosie was his brother. I know that. I forgot what his father is.
His father is Sika and Anoa. Noayai.
Oh, Sika. He was one of the Wild Samoans with Alpha.
Oh, okay.
Cousin to former wrestlers Yokozuna, Rikishi, Umaga, the Tonga Kid, the Usos, and the.
Mm-hmm. they're all a part of the same Samoan tribe. Who Rock is now the High Chief of, which his grandfather also was.
Doesn't say much on there about that. You can keep talking.
I'm surprised they didn't mention Nia Jackson. She's related to him too. That's what I'm surprised about.
Yeah, I had the whole family tree pulled up one time, like everybody on it. Because I was trying to figure out one day, like, what relation did The Rock and Yokozuna have? I knew they were related, but I forgot like how they were related. And I found like the whole family tree of the Samoan heritage.
Well, he's set to do some guest roles on Nickelodeon shows and everything.
Yeah, just to keep him busy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which is cool.
And from what I'm reading, there's nothing bad that's being said about him, so he's probably doing as well as can be expected. So,
right.
Okay. Anything else, or should we wind up the show?
Let's see. I know we talked about Chamber. I guess the one thing I can talk about is like people. They jump on the bandwagon of AEW, which is All Elite Wrestling. I'm not saying it because like, oh, it's a bad company or anything like that. They haven't even started yet, and people like, I don't know, saying that they better and any other company and things like that because of who their guys, their roster. My thing is just like see how it plays out and see how it goes. Like starting in May, they're going to have pay-per-views off the wall. In October, they're going to be on TV. Seems like it's going to be TBS and TNT.
Right.
And starting that
I got
October.
an idea of what we can do. Not to cut AJ off, but didn't we do? Since we're watching WrestleMania, why not see what the top 10 or top 20 WrestleMania moments are?
Okay. Keep talking. I'll bring that up.
You can. Because I don't even know the company that AJ's referred to. AAA is all I know of. Wasn't AAA part of Lucha Libre at one point in time? Unless it's a different AAA.
I think it still is.
Okay, the best WrestleMania moments in history. Does that work for everybody?
Okay, we can use that.
Mm-hmm.
We can use that.
Okay. Number 10, The Ultimate Challenge, WrestleMania 6.
Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior.
Thoughts?
I don't see how that could be a worse moment.
It's not a worse moment.
Oh, I was about
it's
to
top
say.
10 moment.
I'm about to say, because that was actually really creative on Vince McMahon's part. That was probably one of the best things he ever did at a WrestleMania. For those of you that don't remember that match, that's when Ultimate Warrior defeated Hogan for the at the time the World Wrestling Federation title. Ultimate Warrior was the Intercontinental Champion and Hogan was the World Champion. The two biggest baby faces of the company. The first WrestleMania to be held out of state. It was actually held in Toronto, Canada. And being that they were the two biggest baby faces and both times were on the line, somebody had to win. And just on that fateful night, it just happened to be the Ultimate Warrior.
And I think that'd be the last show that they ever do out of the United States, since now they're doing with arenas and crap like that in the southern of the United States.
Okay, number 9 is She Loved Him from the Beginning.
WrestleMania 7, career-ending match, Ultimate Warrior versus Macho King Randy Savage. Let me rephrase that. Pretty much suggested that was actually the pay-per-view I was referring to, that Warrior did not run to the ring. It was a good storyline, good build-up. Well, at the time, Macho King Randy Savage was managed by sensational Queen Sherry. Warrior won the match, forcing Macho Man to retire. At the end of the match, Sherry Martel, in a fit of rage for now having lost her job, got in the ring and started attacking Macho Man. Unbeknownst to her, Elizabeth, his wife, was sitting in the audience, who then came down to the ring to defend Macho Man from Sherry, which instantly made Macho Man a babyface with less than 5 seconds. Memorable moment, also very emotional for those of you out there.
Okay, number 8, Icon versus Icon, WrestleMania 8.
Oh, The
Rock
Rock
versus
versus
Hogan.
Hogan.
I swear Hogan should have won that match. That also actually I can't even say that made Hogan a babyface because he came in as Hollywood Hogan of the NWO. While the match was going down, 50% of the crowd was actually cheering for Hogan to win. So I can't even say that made him a babyface because the fans still liked him anyway.
Okay, number 7, The Boyhood Dream, Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 12.
60-minute Iron Man match. We just watched that last week.
Yeah, we did.
Shawn Michaels' very first title reign.
Oh, excuse me.
After years of being held back.
Being held back.
I'm joking.
Okay, number 6, Tyson, Austin, and the beginning of the Attitude Era, WrestleMania 14.
Shawn Michaels was on his way out. Austin and Mike Tyson prior to that. It actually took place at Royal Rumble because Mike Tyson was like a special guest. Austin won that Royal Rumble. The next night on Raw, Vince McMahon wanted to do like this little presentation for Mike Tyson. Austin came out, flipped him to Bird, shoving match ensued. Bunch of money fell out of Mike Tyson's pocket. Austin was actually trying to grab it, but all of Tyson's bodyguards were grabbing it. Then Austin got out the ring, rolled out of the ring, gave Vince McMahon the bird, and then Mike Tyson then became the special enforcer for the WrestleMania 14 match. Shawn Michaels is on his way out. If you watch that match, it is really kind of tear jerking because Shawn Michaels is in a lot of pain when he did that match. So, yeah, that's what kicked off that attitude.
Number 5, which AJ will remember this one, Rollins with the heist of the century, WrestleMania 31, where Roman Reigns had the belt, and Seth Rollins cashed in his money.
Oh, yeah, where it was him and Brock. Then
yep.
Seth Rollins came in and cashed in and won it. It was like people was turning on Roman Reigns, and I just don't get it. I guess they saw like a promo he did one day, and he kind of paused. Then he just kept going, and everybody, woo, woo.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, sorry.
God.
Okay.
Now
you probably might not remember this because I know you said you haven't watched a lot of the recent ones. But I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to see if AJ knows what event and what WrestleMania it is just from a picture that I'm going to show the camera. Oh, hold on. As my phone goes black. Let's see if just this picture after this match, this one shot became symbolic of this particular WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah. The ending of the Undertaker streak.
Yeah, WrestleMania 30. That picture became symbolic of that WrestleMania. Everybody knows about the end of his streak and everything, but everybody always refers to, remember the dude with the face?
Right. Well, he's famous now.
He is famous. Oh my God, I remember this one.
Oh, Shawn
Michaels with the Ric Flair match.
When he retired the player.
I think everybody cried when he goes, I'm sorry, I love you, and then did the super kick.
I did.
You emotionless hag. I cried.
It was still a good match.
It was.
Yes.
Okay. Hogan slams Andre, WrestleMania 3.
That's what I had mentioned when Andre, so to speak, passed the torch to Hogan. It was actually a really emotional night not for the fans, but for the atmosphere backstage. For those of you that did not know, Andre had just came off back surgery. So not a lot of people knew what his mood was going to be because from a lot of the boys in the back, Andre was always in a good mood. He'd be back there, dressing with the fellas and playing cards, doing, having a good laugh with people. That night, they weren't really sure because he had just came off back surgery. So Hogan gets to the arena. He goes to Vince. He's like, actually, he went to Andre, and Andre didn't really speak to him. And normally, Andre and Hogan were really cool. They were really close friends, and like he didn't speak to him. So they went to Vince. Hogan. He went to Vince. He's like, "Is everything gonna be okay?" And then like, "I'll talk to Andre. I'll get back to you." So Vince went to talk to Andre. He came back to Hogan. He was like, everything's fine. God had a match. So they had their match. And then Hogan, he was actually going to body slam him when they were about to bring it home. In wrestling lingo, that means finish the match. Andre pretty much told Hogan, like, I want you to body slam me. And Hogan was like, what? He was like, I want you to body slam me. And that's what happened. The body slam heard around the world.
Okay, and the number one moment, WrestleMania 30 with the Daniel Bryan yes.
Oh, I'm surprised they put that as number one.
Yeah, it's number one.
Oh wow, with him, he had two matches in one night. One he went against Triple H, then went against Batista and Randy Orton for the title. So the night he beat 3 members of Evolution.
Wow.
Yeah, I happened to miss out on that one. I didn't see that one.
But that is all.
But if I wouldn't expect that to be the number one, I wouldn't even think that would be up there. But I can kind of understand why, because just like the Royal Rumble, for example, that day, they all expected Daniel Bryan to be in it, and
Right.
he wasn't,
Right.
and everybody got mad.
Well, we will be back, I guess, Sunday evening after Elimination Chamber. We will either be cussing up a storm, happy, saying fuck WWE and watching that shit ever again, which has been known to float around this house. Trust me on that one.
Actually, I have done it before.
Yeah, we did too. We boycotted WWE for I think it was about 6 months.
Because back then, that's why I got tired of The Rock being the champion every other week. I was like, okay, fuck it. If he's just going to keep winning every pay-per-view and retain the title, ain't no point in me watching it for a while.
It's like same shit, different event type of deal.
It's like The Rock came champion and but at least he was at every pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
And on TV,
Yeah.
But it's like after a while, you get tired. I got tired of seeing him at the champion. I was like, damn, did anybody go take the belt for this? So yeah, I stopped watching it for at least 5-6 months or so. Until I finally found out there was a new champion. I was like, okay, back to watching.
Yeah, feel you there.
I think Austin finally got the title away from him. I was like, But then that was when Austin made his heel turn, WrestleMania 17.
So we'll be back Sunday after Elimination Chamber. As I say, we may be cussing, happy, sad, whatever, indifferent.
Well, it depends when we watch Raw and SmackDown this week too, and see how that played out for the
Right.
go home
SmackDown ain't
shows.
been on the DVR for some strange
I
reason.
didn't record it. I can always watch it on Hulu.
But until then, catch you all on the flip side. Bye. This is where now nothing is actually going to end, and we're going to be stuck on live video for like the next 20 years.